Hello, what's up, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to another Create with Maxon. Today, I am accompanied by Keanu Visuals. To those who already know Keanu Visuals, you probably already see Keanu a lot in Instagram. Keanu is my good friend, and he's like the master of creating like scenes that you will see soon, like all those like futuristic UI thing. Oh man, what a pleasure to have
Thanks,
Keanu
bro.
today. And Keanu, today we already have plenty of audience in the comments in the chat.
Awesome.
Samar is there, Tim, Vision by Flow,
What's up, guys?
Michael, Kevin, Brian Smith. Hello, everybody. Thank you
Nice.
so much for joining us today.
Let's
And
go.
yeah, today we're gonna talk a little bit more about creating like a capsules. Oh, did I like did I
Did
how do
you
you
leak
call it?
something?
Did I did I spoil the surprise? I mean, I hope not. But today we're gonna talk a little bit about creating cool scenes in After Effects and making a capsule out of that. How do we do that? And let's talk
And
about
what's a
that
capsule?
later. What's a capsule anyway? And by the way, to those of you who haven't seen, who haven't know Keanu, Keanu, why don't you tell a little bit about
Sure.
yourself, man?
Sure. Thank you, man. So, welcome, guys. My name is Keanu. On socials, you can find me as Keanu.visuals, and that's exactly what I do. I create visuals. I'm a guy who loves creating videos. So, I'm kind of a filmmaker, editor, visual effects artist, director. I just like to create videos. And as you just said, I'm really upset with augmented reality, kind of glowy, futuristic UI elements, and also car edits. So, I just like to jump in After Effects and yeah, just get creative. Also a teacher. We have the Creators Club, which is our creator community with more than 1,200 people, where I teach, and we have also great other teachers on the platform. All my knowledge, all the skills from basic After Effects, basic Premiere Pro, zero knowledge to all the crazy effects, which you can actually display. This is the Creators Club, and if you hover over the thumbnails, this is the home side. You can actually see effects and yeah, what you're gonna learn. So yeah, really excited to first create those videos and then also have the time and take the time to really explain in detail to the community how to create them. And it's absolute crazy what our community creates with those tutorials, and yeah, they just add some more onto these effects that I explained. They just take it a step further, and it's just so so cool to see. So yeah, I hope this gives you some
This is
insights here. You can see some of the content what I create.
this is amazing, Keanu, and I'm really
Thanks, man.
looking forward to to learn more about what you're gonna share with us today. And
Mhm.
I'm in a full learning mode today. Woohoo!
Let's go. I'm
All
too.
right. So, guys, without further ado, let me just like pass the baton to Keanu. And Keanu, the stage is yours.
Thank you, bro. So I prepared a HUD Carousel After Effects project. So I might just play it back so you can see what we are going to create. If you haven't opened After Effects before, this might look a little bit complex, but I tell you, we can do this together and go through each step. It's not as complex as it looks. So I prepared just a basic clip for that effect. Well, first of all, why would you create an effect like that? So I came up with the idea of how would it look like if we can just like, when you get an SD card, you can't really look at the footage, right? But maybe in the future, with some augmented reality headset, we are able to see what's on the SD card without plugging it into the laptop. So I kind of just thought about a UI or a cool, smooth way to display that. So I was really, I think the coolest way I come up with was creating a like kind of a carousel. So where we can like it comes up when we look at it, and then we can swipe through the footage. Here in this case, I'm using placeholders in terms of speed, so we have a faster playback. But in a lot of the videos I create, you can also insert videos there. So you have actually videos on the SD card and they can play back. And I just think it's pretty cool because you have that kind of 3D depth of those pieces that track to the SD card. So it really looks like they attached to it. And I really like the effect because you can make it react to your hands and spin it around, rotate it around, change the position and scale. And I think I thought it's just a cool effect to show you guys how you can create this within, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Let's try it. So first of all, of course, you need a clip. It doesn't have to be an SD card. It can be your phone. It can be a camera, whatever you want to attach the carousel to. And that clip is the first thing you're going to need. So I actually have a POV helmet with a camera on it where I shoot on a 10 mil, but you can just do it with a phone. I also have a mouth mount or a head mount, or what I did actually for my first HUD SD card video, I just used my phone and just with my hand, I was acting the moves and holding the SD card and kind of filmed with my second hand. So no,
I'm curious. I'm curious to see the behind the scene.
Yeah, it's actually probably more entertaining than the actual video.
Yeah.
So, but here in that case, I wanted to have both hands free for choreography. So I used a mount for the camera. So here, the first thing I do is I'm thinking about the choreography. What do I want to do? This one is pretty basic. I'm just coming up with my hand here a little bit, so we can still track it because we want to attach it to the card. So we can track it. And then I'm just like kind of selecting the card, like tapping on it. And then I have just my finger going from right to left, swiping through. So that is the basic clip. That is the basic choreography. That's what you have to think about in advance and then just shoot it. Perfect. So we have that clip ready. And to create a composition, I'm just dragging that clip here onto the new composition icon. Boom. That way we create a new comp. And we call this one original clip. Since I've already created it, I'm just dragging it out of the folder. And that is now a clip in our comp. And what I like to do is then do the same thing again with the comp, just dragging it here onto new comp icon so I can create my main comp where I work in. And this one, I'm always going to label them. You might ask why I'm doing this. It's because now in the main comp, we don't just have the clip in here. I'll show you the difference. If you want not do it, the clip would look like this, and I cannot click on it. Like it just opens up the original layer clip as a preview, but I can't do any changes inside that clip. Like it just can apply effects. But with creating a pre-comp, you can access that clip here and make any changes and switch the clip. It's kind of acts like a container. So I really recommend to do the same, but of course you don't have to. But now with the pre-comp clip here, we can now track it, because the first thing we need to do, we need the tracking data, the movement, so we can actually attach the carousel to the SD card. So we want to match the movement. So it's like really sticking to it, because that is the effect kind of lives of that stickiness to the SD card. And the way we do this is pretty easy. We go to the tracker, inbuilt tracker in After Effects. We choose track motion because we want to track the motion. And then I like to go to the options and set it here to stop tracking. On default, it's set to adapt feature, but I recommend to set it to stop tracking. So if After Effects is not sure if the track is right, it's going to stop and we can adjust it manually or say, okay, the track is right. So we can get a better result. And the confidence, I'm usually setting to 90. So After Effects is 90% confident about the tracking result. And if it's less than 90%, it's going to stop. So that is the settings I use. Now we have that track point here, and we can zoom in and we can actually drag that window here. And now we need to find a contrasty point. That's why I use that SD card with white text on it. It's really contrasty. And now it's pretty easy because we can just use that contrasty point here and select the area, the range, the size of our track point. This is the area where After Effects is tracking. And the bigger the area, the more pixel After Effects has to track. So this would take way longer for processing in After Effects or for your machine, for your computer, rather than making it the real size of the area you want to track. So I really recommend to keep this as small as possible. So we just want to save time, right? And with that being said, we just need the position. We don't need rotation. We don't need scale. All good. And now we can here click on Analyze Forward. Boom. And now, oh, the track is running through. Awesome. And now we can actually open up keyframes on all layers, always with view. And what we're doing right now, we're creating keyframes. So I like to do that to see where the tracker already tracked. And now the tracker stopped. That's good, because After Effects wasn't sure if it's right. So it stopped, and I'm just slightly correcting it. And now we can play it back again. And now it's going to be a little bit harder because we're moving out, moving a little bit faster because we go down. Before here, we didn't really move a lot. So it was easy for After Effects to track. But now since we have the movement going down, it's a little bit harder for After Effects to track. So we might need to do these ones manually. So now we're going here forward. All right. And you can go you can analyze forward, but you can also go just one frame forward and the same backwards. So for the manual part, I'm usually just going with one frame because it's probably not tracking anyway. And now we can just manually adjust it. We can try it, but yeah, we manually have to do it because here you see you have a lot of motion blur. And another tip, if you shoot this kind of content, you don't want any blur. As you see here, it's harder for After Effects to track if you have blurriness for any kind of tracking or any kind of rotoscoping. You want to avoid blur. So I did it wrong here. I should have increased the shutter and set the f-stop a little bit higher so we have more, so we have everything sharp. That would be smart, but you can't be always smart, right? So just a quick
It
tip.
happens.
It happens, right? And if you have
Yeah.
any questions, make sure I can't really watch the chat, but maybe Max, you can let me know if anyone has a question, and yeah, feel free.
Alfoot just mentioned in the comment that, I like your awareness not to swipe or tap in front of the card. Keep that track
Yes,
and easy.
that is a good point. I think I actually did this on purpose for the video, so I don't have to explain rotoscoping. That would like increase the length of the video, but that's a really good one. But if you want to really make it, if you want to bring in more detail into your edits, I think it's cool to swipe over it because that way you have to rotoscope it, but you bring in more depth. It just brings in another layer, another element. So you can do both. You can either avoid it, as I just did. That's a little bit quicker. Or if you shot on a high shutter, your rotoscope is going to be pretty good if your hand is well lit. So you won't have an issue, and you have that extra layer of depth. What I think is actually pretty cool. So let me quickly manually make these keyframes here. So now we have the track here, Command Z. You can always go back, just one frame here. I can actually make this window a little bit smaller. We don't need that. We need more of the preview. Yes, please. Okay. And I think that is the last frame. Nice. And now we can check the track here and see, yeah, that looks actually good. And if we're happy, we're not done yet. We need to, first of all, create a new null object. And this null object is here to store the tracking data. We're going to apply the tracking data to the null object. So you go right-click, new null object. And we call this one, let's say, tracking data. Let's go. And now here on the clip, we need to edit the target. So click edit target, make sure the null object is selected. Okay, and now we hit apply and want to apply to the dimensions X and Y. Yes, because we are tracking the position, so we just have the X and Y. And we press OK. Awesome. So now we have the tracking. Yeah.
By the way, we just have some tips from Roland. He mentioned that if you set the confidence to 90% and to stop if the confidence is lower than 90% and tracking does stop, you do a single frame track for 2 and 3 frames. Then you go back to continuous frame tracking.
Awesome.
Thank you, Roland.
Yeah, man. That's it. Super cool. Love it. So now we have tracked it, and you can check here. I have the tracking data of a layer selected. All good, like the track. And now,
are you up for a question, Keanu?
Of course, always.
Yeah, Vision by Flow just mentioned, just ask, what you're gonna do if you had your hand over the thing that you will track?
That is a good point. That's a really good point. I actually jumped to the very first frame where I can see the tracking point again, if that happens, but I always try to avoid it. Really try to avoid it, but if you cannot avoid it, go to the first frame where you see a tracking point again, and then usually you have that you start tracking from there on again. So you have a kind of a hole in between, and this hole usually or sometimes looks good, like you can still use it, or you just manually try to guess roughly where the track point sits, and then adjust it frame by frame. That's just, maybe you have some tips in the chat, but that is the way I work with it. I then try to manually look at the track, then play it back again, and try to manually set those keyframes in the background to match the motion, and to control that is actually the next step we can do now, is create that solid. So we call this one, this one's going to be our carousel control. So we call this carousel control. It's just a solid. We can just size this one a little bit down. And now we kind of can check the track. And I also like to apply the grid effect here. Maybe we're going to go for like a bluish color and increase the border a little bit. And now when we play it back, nothing happens. But the magic now, you have that parenting tool here. Now when we use the parent pick whip and now select the tracking data null, boom, just let it go and play it back. Now it's sticking to our SD card. And
Perfect.
I think that is always so satisfying to watch that. I love that. So now you can actually check the track. And now if you have that problem that you are having that hole because you were covering the tracker, now you can kind of check if it feels right, if it feels good, or if it doesn't feel good, you can jump back and adjust those keyframes manually. But I really recommend to avoid covering the trackers. But if you can, just do it for like just a slight movement. So it's just a couple of frames, and you can do a couple of frames. You can do just manually, and it's going to look good. But yeah, great question. And now we have tracked it, and nice. That is our carousel control. And the next thing we need to prepare and to think about is, of course, how many pieces do we want in our carousel? And I usually go with 6. So I have 6 content pieces in a carousel. I just like the number 6. I think it's 3 on each side. It looks pretty cool. So I go with 6. So I need to prepare 6 content pieces. In this case here, I've prepared those those placeholders. So we have just these PSD files, and I actually created those with ChatGPT, guys. Not gonna lie. So I created a prompt style, and then I kind of wanted different angles with the same color and the same tones. And those liquify kind of distortions here are just created in Photoshop. These ones I did afterwards in Photoshop are reframed into 9:16, and also in Photoshop I've added the text and the numbers. I always set on this example I set them to blending mode difference, so they kind of blend in together nice way. And I think for a couple of minutes work, these placeholders actually look not too bad. So now we have the placeholders. I actually dragged them onto the new composition icon as well, so I can open up a new comp for them. And let's do one for example here. I always like to make those content pieces inside the carousel with rounded edges. And the way I do it is I choose here on the top the rounded rectangle tool, and I just double click on it. That way it's going to create a rounded rectangle with the exact size of our comp. And now I have some options here to fill it. So I'm going to fill it with white. Stroke, I don't want any stroke. And if we open up the rectangle path here, we can increase or decrease the roundness. And this way we kind of can get a rounded shape. Around the rectangle, we can decide how round we want that. And with scale, I usually like to bring it down to 99. And then this one we're going to call mask. And yeah, it's just a solid now. But with just one click of a button here for the track mat, we are now choosing or select the mask. And this way now we have rounded edges here on our content piece. When we toggle on the transparency, you can see it's clean round. And I also like to add outlines just to play a little bit around with the UI. So I'm duplicating the masked around the rectangle and call this one outline. We need to turn it on again, like the visibility of the layer. For the fill for the outlines, I don't want any fill. And for the stroke, I want a constant color. You can also go with here with some of the gradients. That's also pretty cool. And now we have a stroke here. It's just a little detail, but I really like how we have now kind of a rim around it. And that's it. That's what we are going to do for all placeholders, for all content pieces. I just did that in advance, so it looks like that. just created all of them. And you can just copy paste the outlines and the mask into each comp of the videos of the content you want to add, and then just choose for the PSD or for the video you have inside. You can just choose the mask, and yeah, you save a lot of time. So with all of those comps, pre-comps prepared, we can now jump back into our main comp, and now we want to drag all of them inside our comp. So let's choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nice, and drag them here into our main composition. Okay, nice. So now they're here, and now we are playing around with 3D space. I don't know if there are any questions until now before we start with the next ones.
Yeah, our friend Chad. Hey, Chad, nice to see you.
What's up?
Chad just give us a tip from the chat as well. For 2D position tracking, it's usually better quality and faster to use the tracker in Spot Clone Tracker. Thank you, Chad. Noted.
Nice. Awesome.
And there's also a questions from their Gintas International. He's asking, what's the shortcut for the grid tool?
You mean the FX console I just used to apply the grid?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're asking?
You're using the FX control. Okay, you're using FX control.
Yes.
So
yeah, exactly.
Keanu was using the FX control from the Video Copilot, right?
Exactly. So it's just a shortcut here. So I just have to press on Mac Control and Spacebar, and I can instantly access all the effects and presets, which usually I need to access through the panel here. I could just select the layer like that, and press Control Spacebar, and just type in any effect. And I just was searching for the grid effect, and I could instantly apply the grid effect. So I think that was a question, right?
Yes, lifesaver.
Awesome. Yeah, it's incredible. Nice. So let's move on. Next, we're going to create the 3D carousel, and to really access the 3D space, we need to create 3D layers. So we are selecting all of our content pieces for the carousel and the carousel control. And if we toggle to the switch modes, we can access the icons here to make all of these layers 3D layers. So we click the button, boom, and now all of them are 3D layers. Nothing happened yet, but it helps to turn on the second view here. And for the second view here, I'm choosing the top perspective. And now we can see, all of our layers sit at the same position in the Z axis. And now we kind of want to move all of our content pieces, slightly forward here towards the camera. And we also want to scale them down a little bit, just like that. And now you can see here, the cursor control stays at the same position on the Z axis. And all of these content pieces, we just dragged here closer to us. Nice. And now we're creating the carousel, and that's actually that's going to actually pretty fast. The only thing we have to do is we need to divide the amount of content pieces we want to add to the carousel by 360, because we have 360 degrees, and we want to make sure there is the same amount of space between each of those pieces, so it looks clean, right? So we just need to open up the calculator. Oh, you don't see it, right? So I'm just doing the quick math for you. 360 by 6 content pieces equals 60. So for each content piece, we're going to change so we're going now to parent the first one here to our carousel control, open up the Y rotation, pressing R, and now we increase the amount here by 60. Boom. Oh, well, now you can see here, I didn't drag it far enough out. So I want to go back and select all of my layers here again and drag them further to the camera, so we have more space for all of those content pieces, right? And we might want to set the scale to 60 and drag them a little bit down here. We can change the scale and position of the carousel later on, but now just for to see what is actually going on. So let's try it again. We're now here parenting the first one to the carousel control. The Y rotation we are going to set to 60, and yes, That works even better. Nice. And now we are just now we are going to select the second one here. Do the same thing. Parent it to the carousel control, and 60 plus 60, 120. Boom. And now you can see here on the top view, we kind of start getting these the carousel, right? So let's move on. The third one, carousel, 60 plus 120 is 180. Fourth one, parented. Now plus 60 is 240. Nice. And now the fifth, parented. Now plus 60 is 300. And now last but not least, number 6, parented. Boom. Look at that. Now we have a carousel. And now they are all parented to our carousel controller here. So we can actually move things around by just moving the carousel control. Look at that. And now we can also rotate that bad boy here. And it's pretty quick, right? It's not too complex. So let's set everything to 0 again. And now I think the in general, all of those pieces are too small. But first of all, let me change the scale of the carousel control. So we kind of match the size we want for our frame here. Maybe something like that, or even smaller. And now we can also jump back and change the size of all of those content pieces again. So if you want them bigger, to kind of be like closer together, we can just edit this as well. So it's yeah, you can adjust everything. You can just adjust everything here. So let me bring down the scale again to match it. So I think something like that looks right. And now look at that. It's tracked. So first of all, we parented the carousel control to the tracking data, which is then sticking to the SD card. And next, we parented all of those content pieces to the carousel control. So the carousel control directs our content pieces to stick to the SD card. And with the carousel control, we can now do all kinds of animations. And let's do we have time for quick animations? Or any questions?
No, so far no questions.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
So I want for the first animation to like pop out when I kind of click on it. So I go here to the end, and here I want it to be in the final position. First of all, I want to like scale up from the SD card, so it looks like it's coming out of the SD card. So the easiest way to do that is to change the anchor point. So I'm choosing the anchor point tool here up to the top, and I'm just setting the anchor point of the carousel down here to towards the SD card. So now when I'm animating a scale, I'm just creating a scale keyframe right now, going back in time. So here I want to start it, and I set the scale to 0. So now it pops up from towards the SD card, right? Because otherwise, if the anchor point is here in the mid of the carousel, it would just like pop up like right in the air, but we kind of want to pop from the SD card, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it pops up. Now we can of course go into the graph here, into the speed graph. I like the speed graph or the value graph, but like speed graph here, we can like just make this one smooth, or we can just like use our shortcuts to ease them. Boom, like that. And yeah, now it's open, it opens up, and now we can like animate the rotation. So here I want to start the rotation, so I'm open up the orientation or the Y rotation again, make a keyframe, and here is the finger all the way to the other side. So I want to end the rotation, and I'm just need to adjust here rotation to whatever. Let's say I want to see placeholder 3. That is a good amount of spin. And now we just make sure that we spin into the right direction, change the rotation into the right direction. And now we just need to match the timing and smooth the keyframes again, ease them. And just like that, boom, you have the first spin. Here, I want the second one to start, so I do a keyframe again. Here, I want it to end. So now let me spin it again to, let's say, number 5. Look at that. That's too early. So here it really needs to start right when I have the finger. So really take your time there and adjust everything to the details. It's all about the details. And now, boom, let's go in a little bit. And now let's maybe change the graph to a graph more like that. And let's see how that looks. Nice. So that's basically how you then animate them. And now, of course, we see motion blur because we are moving fast. We are moving things and objects, so we should see motion blur. And this is actually pretty easy in After Effects. All we have to do is now to select our layers here, the content pieces, and we just need to toggle on motion blur. Like that is the button right here, and with one click, boom, motion blur is on. And now here you can see the difference. Now when we have a spin, look at that. That's without motion blur. Looks wrong because it's spinning, right? And that is with motion blur on. It's just one click. And yes, now we can like play that back when we go to one view again. Boom, like that. Deselect them. And of course, we can turn off our grid here in the middle, like the rotation control. We can just turn off the visibility so it's not distracting anything. So yeah, like that, we can just turn it off. Boom. And then we have the motion blur. And that's pretty much how you can create it. It took more than 10 minutes. Yeah, you're right. But it was still pretty quick, right? And if you get used to this method, you can create those effects pretty fast. And now it's about like adding more details. Like the whole red giant suite is like perfect to adding glow, adding a shine effect, and yeah, make this one just more realistic, more poppy, more futuristic. Also like to change the opacity to like 90. Maybe that looks good. It's just about playing around. So we kind of roughly can look through those content pieces, maybe even lower. So here you can see when I bring the opacity down, it's just all about the details, guys. So yeah, you get creative with it, and yeah, I just can't wait to see what you're gonna create with those techniques.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing with us, Keanu. Yeah,
Sure.
like you said, details matters. I mean, this is
is.
like just the big how do you call it? The big foundations, the big yeah, the base. And then after that you
Yes.
start adding up details from here.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great way to approach that.
Yeah, it works for me.
Awesome.
Cool. So, what are we gonna do next?
So yeah, next probably we can show something about capsules because you were asking
Yes.
what capsules is.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Right. So I think like couple of months ago, we released a new product that is called Maxon Studio, and I'm sure Roland, you were there in the stream, and I think Brian is also there. So I think this is like not something new for you guys, but probably some people that is not joined that haven't joined with us back then. Just take like this short as a refresher for you guys who have joined it, but for those people that haven't joined, this is what Capsule is. This is what Maxon Studio. Maxon Studio is like this tool that that lives in After Effects currently. So if you have Red Giant or Maxon 1 under Window, you can launch Maxon Studio, and it is this window over here, and it has tons of capsules. And we've been saying capsules, but what is capsules really? It is just like a, how do you call it, a super robust template. And if I dock this one somewhere over here, and you see like in Maxon Studio, there are plenty of like different category for all these capsules. You have all the text, and you have all the motion graphics, all the effects, transition, backgrounds, and so on and so forth. And they are pretty easy to use. Like somebody that doesn't know like After Effects, like me, because I'm coming from a colorist background, so my weapon of choice was is in Resolve. So I normally do a lot of things in Resolve, but I often get intimidated to create some cool things in After Effects, and that's always like, I wish I know how to do that. But with Maxon Studio, it kind of like, hey Max, you can also create something with Maxon Studio. And let me just prove you that it's very easy to use like a capsules inside Maxon Studio. Here, if I want to pick this particular one, I can just click apply, and it even like remind me, hey, you haven't created any composition really. So yeah, okay, let's do this. Let's create a new compositions, and yeah, that looks fine. Let's create one. and it applies a capsule right away in my timeline. And if
That's
I
so cool.
scrub around, this is it. This is the capsule. So from here on, if I know After Effects like Keanu do, I can go down to the pre-com and start to do a lot of like great things from there. But remember, I don't know After Effects, so what I can do is like maybe I can just go to the edit page, because once you
Mhm.
apply a capsule, you got the edit page open, and
So cool.
here uh, I can just start changing things.
Like these controls are so cool. Like the UI, it's so easy to customize them.
Exactly. And it's also come with like animations, pre-animated. And there you go. It's like I can do things. And now if I don't want to, I can just delete this one. And the option is like really the options are really for artists to play around with them. If you don't know After Effects and you feel intimidated to go down to the pre-comp, well, you can kind of like play around with the how do you call it, with the edit page. But if you
Mhm.
want to, you can also create stuff inside I mean, modify stuff inside the pre-comp. And with Maxon Studio, you don't have to be like worried that you do something wrong, because for instance, if we by any chance like delete something, like here I just delete this text and I close this one, it just notify me that, hey, I just delete something with this like small um, window over there, but small notifications icon.
Mhm.
But if I press Control Z, Command Z, then I will bring back this text back. And what Maxon Studio allows like people like me is that, instead of like getting like worrying about creating like new things, you can just art direct your creations, your capsules, your scenes, so to say.
Mhm.
And here, for example, if I says like, yeah, this is nice, but I don't really love the gray background over there. So I want to add some cool background, and it happens to be in Maxon Studio. There are like plenty of this cool background. Maybe I'll create this one, and since I kind of like know how layer works, probably the layer on the top will be like viewed first than the layer on the bottom. So maybe I'll just move the background at the bottom layer. And what I can do is that here I can also change my background color and things that I like. Like for example, if I disable my text, I start to see like, yeah, this pretty grainy. And if I want to reduce the grain, I can just reduce the grain a little bit. And now if I want to like layer my text on top of that, what I can do is that, if you can go down to the pre-comp and just like disable the background, but it is already there. The control is already there. So what I can do is just like reduce the opacity, and boom, just like that, somebody that is just starting, and like somebody that just starting like working with After Effects will
Mhm.
have no worry at all. It's like, yeah, I mean, there are plenty of capsules that I can browse and use. And by the way, all of these capsules, they're ready for your commercial project right away. There's no like fee that you need to pay on top of that. It's ready for your commercial projects. And what's
Nice.
nice, like the things that we always recommend people is that create your own, like create like mix and match all those capsules and create something new, and you can save it as a presets. But
Mhm.
throughout the year, whenever we're like meeting a lot of people in the event, or when talking to like artists in some studios, people always wondering, can you create your own capsules? Because just
Mhm.
imagine if you are like a broadcaster, or you are like a big studio, and you have like a how do you call it, particular color that you're using for your brand.
CI.
You have like a particular animation that you use, and so on and so forth. And just imagine if you can create capsules and then have it stored in this discover page, and have like your junior compositor come and just like, all right, you can just change the text, you can just change the color. And that is like, isn't that like perfect? Isn't that like crazy good? So Yeah, that's the idea of like a Maxon Studio, and that particular request has been like asked a lot of time, and like behold, the developer is listening. So unfortunately, Alex is not making it today. Otherwise, we can like
Yeah.
have a chat with Alex. But you know,
In the
the
future.
yeah, the create page is there. So currently, I have a build that doesn't have the create page because this is like the one that we have on like live build. But I think Alex sit down and talk with Keanu. Is like, hey,
Yes,
Keanu,
we did.
do you want to play around with the create page in Maxon
Yeah.
Studio? It's like, I think Alex just gave you like the build couple of days ago, and it's just to
Yeah.
showcase, like, hey, Keanu, why don't we make a stream to show you, like, to show people how easy it is to use? And Keanu
Yeah.
just used the create page in couple of hours, if I'm not mistaken, and the create page is not supposed to be like that hard. And yeah, for the rest of the hour, I will give back the stage to Keanu, and Keanu will show you how easy it is to use the create page, right?
You're right, man. And even I'm not a big studio, but this is super helpful.
Yeah,
Because you just saw that some kind of precoms or effects and all kinds of builds and UI that I build takes time. Like even if
yeah,
like there was a raw one, but it still took me 20 to 30 minutes. And if you can
yeah,
automate like 20 or 30 minutes, like just scale it up and like using it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, even 20 times. Like the amount of time you save is just insane. So since I really like this effect, I just got the build recently from Alex, the Max Studio, to try it, to create it myself. And I haven't done a lot of testing, because I just got it recently, but I really want to try
okay,
it
yeah,
to apply or to create a capsule which with effects that I use daily, or they are more complex and they take time. And so I decided to start with the carousel. So that's why I just showed you how to create it manually. And now
mhm,
you wonder how to access Maxon Studio. You choose your window up here to the top, and now I'm selecting Maxon Studio, and here we are. um you by now, as Max you just showed you, you can browse through all the effects and everything up here to the top. But what we haven't discovered yet is the create page here to the left. So
woohoo,
let's press the magic button, and in here we can now create our own capsule. And this is super super helpful. And I also want to outline that, of course, there are you can store these effects in After Effects like project files to open them up again, and or you have Envato templates, but that is just not the same. Like here you can apply those capsules, those pre-created capsules, onto different frame rates, onto different resolution, and you won't have any errors. It's just super smooth. It creates you those precoms, plus you have the effect controls, which is custom built to super easy access them. And that's what you're also able to build or customize within the create page. So those custom settings you just saw Alex change, like the name, and all sorts of parameters, you can decide which one to drag into those Maxon Studio UI to change and make it super simple. So as I said, I just begun. I have like literally no experience with it, and you see now like how fast I can create a capsule with that. So first of all, of course you can add here a thumbnail, but in terms of that, I think that thumbnail looks awesome for our use today. So let's call this one HUD Carousel. Awesome. Create a name. Let's say I'm Keanu. You can use the capsule type here. Apparently, you can tell more about the capsule, and you can also add tags. So I think that is a pretty cool categorizing and organizing feature. But for now, I think we're good with the name and the thumbnail here. And so now the magic happens. Um, First of all, I want to we have when I open up this project again, I want to have the option to change the background, to have the video in the background immediately change with just drag and drop. And I also want to drag and drop change each of these content pieces, like the layers inside the pre-comps. So that is my goal for the capsule now. So all I need to do is now here for the pre-comp that I have for the original clip here, to drag this one here into group 1. Boom, just like that. And now I have created the first group, and you can see here drag and drop parameters from layers in your timeline. And here we are creating those windows where you can later on just drag and drop effects in. And now what I also want to do is I want to have each of those ones in the precoms as the option to change right from the UI. But we have to keep in mind, what I've learned from Alex is that, of course, since we are planning those capsules in new projects, we might not have the footage of the capsule itself, which the original footage which was created with. So what we need to do instead is we just need to apply solids as placeholders. So let's call this one a placeholder as a solid, and a solid is right in After Effects. So that's something you can create with every new project. You don't need that file to be on your hard drive on your computer. You can just access through After Effects because it's just a solid. It comes with the system, right? So you have the placeholder here. So we drag it down. We apply the mask effect here, and we turn off our PSD layer. We even delete it. And now this placeholder we can also drag in here. Boom, just like that. And yes, now we have the linked layer, the placeholder, the properties, and now we can do the same for the other ones as well. Let me open them up. So here, boom, just like that. Mask. Damn, where are my comps? We need 2. We're copying this one. But I'm not sure why we're now losing. Oh, I need to. Oh, yeah, of course. I need to create new groups first. Like that. And let's do this.
Yeah, it is as easy as drag and drop in. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like that. I just wonder where those groups just slipped. You know? Because I was just dragging them here. And now let's create those capsule. Boom. And we hit create. And now the capsule was automatically created here. And now we are starting, let's say we are starting a complete new project. And let's create a new composition here. Boom, just like that. And let's say we name this one comp 1. Let's go. And now we can actually go into my own library.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like your own capsules.
I was just somewhere. There. How is that? I was just there. Let me. Okay, now we have the capsule here, and here we can just press on. So we have certain options here, and to create and now to apply the capsule, we can just click this button here, like that. And you see the comp 1 here is completely empty. We have nothing in there, right? So now we just click on create, and boom, just like that. Look at that. It just created the full animation, and now we can replace all of those elements, just drag and drop. So here in the effects here, now we have all the capsules with the drag and drop layers. So Now I'm going down here for the original clip. Let's say this is a completely new project and I'm dragging out, and this, I have this as a preset. Now I can just use my, let's pretend it's a new original clip. I can just drag and drop this one here inside the capsule. And just like that, it is in the background. Like it just got applied. And here for the same for all of those here for all of these solids. I can just use this new content piece. Let's pretend it's a new one.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
just drag and drop it in here. Boom. And you see here, it just got applied. And same one to this one. Let's say same one to this one. Here we go. And just like that, step by step, I can add, like within seconds, all of those content pieces. And now, of course, what I have to do, I have to track the original footage, because it's not going to be the same movement, right? So
Yeah.
I have to do the tracking process as we did at the beginning, but then I just have to attach or like to parent it to the new tracking null, like to the new null object where we store the data, and then you can animate it again and like just change the keyframe slightly to match it to your movement, right? So you just, of course, you need to customize the movement of your new clip, because it's not going to be like exact the same movement. But yeah, like that's how fast we just created a carousel. Everything looks nice, looks good. And yeah, I'm really excited to play around with that, because you know, I've just had this the access to this feature for like let's say an hour,
Oh my
an
God.
hour time, not even. And
Yeah.
like, you know, there's so much you can now drag and drop in there, like all of those parameters you have when you open up the transform options, when you open up materials options, everything here you can drag and drop into your custom effects controls to actually customize them later on in your build, like in your capsule when you apply it again. So there is like endless possibilities. Like
Yeah.
literally, this was like the most basic one I could come up with in that amount of time. So yeah, I think it's
That's
great.
really awesome. That's really awesome, Keanu. And yeah, I can now really see that this workflow, like it can really like speed up your creation process. So you can be always in the creative mode and just things like, all right, maybe I should change now with a something with a beach or something like that. Just
Yeah,
change the footage and everything is already there. Yeah, and that's like,
yeah,
guys, that was like the idea for today's live stream, is that just to showcase how like a some like one creator can like deal with create page, how easy it is to use, and like literally Keanu just play around with a create page couple of
yeah,
hours and he
yeah,
he can already bake a
yeah.
capsule. And by the way, if you're interested, I think Keanu is kind enough to like give us some like goodies. I
Yes.
think you can in the description of this video, you'll find a downloadable project. So you can like, if you are curious, you can dig down to that project and see how the project was set up and play around with it. And if you have Maxon Studio, you can create your own capsules.
Awesome.
Right. And so if you really want to know more about like how like the detail, the nuts and bolts of the create page, we save that for the remaining episodes, because in the upcoming episodes we will be accompanied by the person, like the two artists that help us in creating like a lot of those capsules, a lot of those beautiful capsules that you see in the Maxon Studio. So I think next week we will have Andy Needham. I'm called Andy to talk about the create page. And then the last two sessions we will be joined by Apostolos, Candy Mustache. So he will like exactly like break down all the share all the tips and tricks to the create page. But today I hope you can like really like get the feeling how easy it is to
Mhm.
create capsules. And yeah. And if I may, let me steal your screen a little bit, Keanu.
Yes, go for it.
And let me just do the final, how do you call it? The housekeeping. So if you
Yes.
guys been joining us, like a lot of live stream, you probably know that at the end we normally do the housekeeping, just to point you out that, by following the links that you find in your chat, you can land to this page. It's just like a reminder page. So if you want to check whatever happening in the Maxon events, so if you want to check what events are coming up next, you can click the Maxon events and you'll see that, all right, there are plenty of events coming. And if you want to know more about our products and you want to learn about our products, you can go to Cineversity. And in Cineversity, you can learn like a lot of like Maxon products. And also, if you just want to receive a newsletter, you can click sign up. And if you want to watch the recording of this live stream, and if you like to like follow up with a project that Keanu just showed us, because some people like to like pause and then create something, follow the video and do it again. Normally you cannot do that with live streams, but we are always recording this sessions, so you can click on the Maxon Training Team YouTube channel, and it will be available there for you to follow up. And what's nice, it will be timestamped by our beloved Dr. Sasi. Thank you so much for doing that. And yeah, without further ado, I think that was it for today. And I really thank you so much for like joining us today, guys. And
thank you, man.
Thank you so much, Keanu, for like sharing your work, sharing your creative idea with us, and then also for like playing around with the Create page. Thank you so much.
Yeah, super exciting. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. And so yeah, guys, I hope to see you again next week, same time, same channel. And until next time, my name is Max, and
take care, guys.
Visuals.
Yes.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.